stop ripping them to miss, and then they were getting second and third chance opportunities. And to me, like when you're not, as efficient as you want, and they get a double-digit lead right there, and then you never could get it back to single digits to really make a push.
It's been such a joy to watch Ross-Ade play.
Yeah.
What did you have to say to him after this, Ryan?
Oh, just proud of him. He's worked really hard. He's put in a lot of time. And, I talked about in the press conference just the burden when you're that good of a player, and like what you get in opposing gyms and what you walk into every single game and what you have to hear. And below average players like myself never have that burden, and like people have no idea. And he was always professional, man. He was competitive, he was professional, he worked hard, he was unselfish, he's a passer, and he always showed up. I was always waiting for him his frustration to boil sometimes, and or just not like 100% be there. He was always there. He was always ready to compete when it was game time.
What do you want to say to Boilermaker Nation?
Oh, I appreciate everything that they did. And I've always been the mantra of we got to give them something to cheer about. That's always been like, hey, we have a part. Like, I got to get my team prepared. Our guys got to go out there and compete, and they got to play. And if you do that, they show up. They've proven that. We sell out exhibition games.
Regardless of what success you have in the future, this will be a season 40, 50, 60 years from now. Old timers will be talking about that special run.
Right.
Now that it's over, have you had a chance to really think about that and the place in history this team will have?
Yeah, you think about it because you always get questions asked about it and stuff. But no, I know about our history. And obviously, Rick Mount, Joe Carroll, all the great players through the years, and you're friends with them. We have a basketball family. We have two coaches as long as we've had them. You just have that connection, with your former players. But no, it's a great run. But the other thing is that you always want to keep moving the bar. And part of what we've had to sit in, is true. But it's also raising expectations of the program, winning Big Ten championships, graduating your players, advancing, getting to the final game, like all those things you look back and reflect on and feel good about it. But it's the relationships, it's the guys. So we have great guys, great staff. It's fun to hear that.
We really enjoyed this season. This is one of our favorites.
Yeah, you carry a piano on your back a little bit, obviously for what we've gone through, but like I've always said, you gotta sit in it. But there's no doubt about that. Like, we have competitive guys, we have good guys, and I always throw around the word sacrifice, because if you want to have a special team and a great program, you got to have some people sacrifice, especially from a role definition standpoint.
Growing up in Indiana, growing up in Delaware County and Muncie, you know what basketball means to the state of Indiana. So to give Purdue this opportunity, the state this opportunity, I know that isn't lost on you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We've had some really good players. Zach, obviously, Carson Edwards. I could go on and on. Good players from the state of Ohio. But we recruit our state, and and we have such good high school coaches, and so they make your job easier. But that's kind of the Midwest too, right? But for us, why go anywhere else if the guys are right there? But it's also you got to get people that fit. I don't think anyone's going to argue that we should take Zach or Carson Edwards or Vince Edwards or Dakota Mathias or Isaac Haas. And so you get some really good players. So you got to be smart about it. You're just not taking guys that are the most talented players in our state. You want to see that fit. And sometimes that's tough to gauge. But for the most part, we got enough models at our place where we can look at it and say, Ryan Kelly fits into this mold with Dakota Mathias or Sasha Stefanovic. Where I think one of the things, obviously Zach's a special player in the league, but Braden Smith's really given us a punch. And Fletcher Lawyer's competitiveness and not scared of the moment and his competitiveness. Along with Braden's, now you can build that. Trey Kaufman's really going to take off for us. So we have a good nucleus of guys. Caleb really had to sacrifice for us, this year just because I wasn't going to take Zach out, and that's a hard pill to swallow, right? And but he's been great. I could go on and on about our guys. We feel good about the guys returning. We feel good about our young guys coming too.
Just the challenge of getting 3-point shots tonight.
Right.
Why was it so difficult
for you guys?
Well, they just
stay with you. They're elite, and so I said in the presser in there, you play a team and they got a lockdown defender. Then you play the next team and they got a lockdown defender, and UConn brings lockdown defenders off the bench. And so everybody they starve. might not be a lockdown defender, but they're great team defenders. So they do start two guys like Stephen Castle can really guard. I mean, he's 19 years old. He's a kid. And he's out there, and he's bird dogging, and he's on you, and he's 6'6" and athletic. You look at Tristan Newton in his 5th year, like he's the same way. When Diarra comes in, he's the same way. And now you got a 7'2" shot blocker down there. So they wanted to stay one-on-one with Zach. And so instead of fighting that, we got Zach 25 shots. Right. And so like our turnover stayed under 10. Our issue in this game was we needed to be more efficient in what we did. And it wasn't terrible, but we needed to be a little bit better, and we needed to be able to get a defensive rebound. We can make a run on them if we can get a defensive rebound, but we had a real tough time there boxing them out. And then when we would get when we get misses, I keep saying that, when we would get misses, we weren't getting the ball, they were. And then now we couldn't make a run and they couldn't do anything, but that's what great teams will do to you.
Did you feel like maybe you get a 3 at some point, it would kind of, get some momentum going?
Yeah, we got a couple like looks there. Mace got the one look right there, and he was open, and then, and that's kind of the catch-22 with it. When you do get them, now you press a little bit because you haven't had them, right? But you're not going to get very many of them. But we told them, like, hey, we got to have great movement. We got to be able to get in and play off of 2 feet and spray the ball out and be able to move. They just did their defense was better than our offense in that area.
Now, you talk about one game at a time, and it is, but these guys looked at this one game for a whole year and said, basically, we're going to win a national championship or fail. That's an impossibly high bar right now with some bars.
Right, yeah, that's, for us, like, for anybody that's in this position, it's not a failure. You got beat, but it's not a failure. And there's a big difference there, the year before it is, right? Like when that happens. And for us, that was so tough because, you're a 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, whatever the hell we are, for about 6-7 years, and you fight like hell to be a 1 seed. Like, that's what everybody wants, right? And you get there and then you have that disappointment. So for all those guys to be able to sit in that and then come back out and go on an international trip, Zach goes to the World Cup, and then go the whole season. And I've always told you guys, like, you want the NCAA tournament to start in November because you're just tired of it. You're tired of the questions. You're tired of it. We have a top 5 schedule in the country. We go undefeated, and like nobody appreciates it. Like, how hard it is to beat the 3 teams in Hawaii and beat the #1 ranked Arizona team, and go into Toronto and beat Alabama. I think Alabama proved how good they are. And so like our guys did special things, but like you felt good about it, but like it was like, well, we still haven't got the NCAA tournament. We still haven't. Like, we still are sitting there. You win your league by 3 games. It's the first time since 1976 to win a league back-to-back years by multiple games, which is just a crazy stat. So like you go through all those things, but now you're still like, hey, you got to be great. You know what I mean? Like you carry that. Like you just do. You carry it as a coach. Coaches always say it's not that big deal. We'll keep our focus. We're moving on. You feel that. You feel it as a player. You feel it as a coach. You're not human if you don't feel it. And so like for us, like. I just got a lot of respect for our guys, for young people, competitive people, to be able to string together 5 wins and almost win a national championship is pretty impressive.
Does this raise the standard at Purdue?
No question, but it doesn't change how we operate. And that's probably the #1 thing for us is, the landscape is changing. And where does that go? Like, where's the guardrails in that world? And so we've been able to keep doing it the same way. It'll be interesting if we can still keep doing it the same way. I would think we can. We have major support at our place, so that's not going to be an issue. But we're not going to get away from the education and the people and like growing and developing guys. Like, I hope I don't have to do that. I love the David Jenkins and the Lance Joneses of the world. I just don't want to take 4 to 5 guys, that now they're coming into place and they want the same role. When in reality, like when you take Lance Jones, it's perfect, but it's one guy, right? It's one guy. And so if we have to do that, we'll continue to do that. But I do think it comes and finds us at some point. Like not everything's perfect.
Go ahead. What should some of your returning pieces take from just being part of this and seeing their age?
Yeah, I think you build your team, through your main guys. So Zach, your value as a player comes, do you make him better? You know, Braden Smith has the ball in his hands a lot. Braden Smith makes other people better. You know, and so like what you want is like, where's our growth with the people that are coming back? Like, you got a very good core with Braden Fletch, Drake Hoffman, you know, Caleb First, you know, guys with experience, you know, that have played for us. And so like Miles Colvin and Cam Heide, you know, I think got some really good experiences, you know, the whole season, but yet there's times they didn't play a whole lot. Now you kind of see like, hey, I don't want that role. I don't want the ninth man role, the eighth man role. We got guys on our team that didn't get in, you know, so that is really hard. And so, but I think they understand and I'll be fair with it. And so like people always say, well, what does this look like? I said, I don't know what it looks like. They're going to tell me though. And so like, you know, if I tell you what's going to happen in 6 months, I'm not being fair to anybody. Like I'm going to wait and see who gets better, who's going to work on their game, who's going to evolve and be a part of that core that we've got to work around, and then get things figured out after the fact. But their effort and the time they put in their game and how they do themselves, that's what's going to determine how much they play or who starts or things of that nature.
Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.